Oh, my glasses, sorry. I'm here, are we?
Maria Bjornsson designed the show. Obviously, she did that 25 years ago, and we've stuck to her original designs as much as we possibly can. We've kept all the same sort of looks for all of the different characters. Obviously, they've got to be tweaked to suit each individual, because obviously not everybody looks the same. But on the most part of it, we've stuck to the same overall look for all of them. With this, we wanted to keep that theatrical feel, but obviously it's being filmed, it's cinema release in HD, so obviously we had to do a different type of makeup. See, theatrical makeup's a little bit different from that.
Basically because we've had a cast of, I think, 140-ish for this production, whereas usually we've got about 40, so that's 100 extra costumes. I know we shipped out of Her Majesty's Theatre probably about 130 of our costumes, but within the store I would have thought from countries that we borrowed them from, there was probably at least another 200. Of the 140 people in it, they were in at least 3 scenes, I think, everyone. So it was a lot of costumes to deal with. We've had stuff from Argentina and Germany, New York. It wasn't just the costumes, we're talking about hats, shoes, tights, jewellery. People in boxes, the audience, to look like Victorian audience, so they all had to have the jewellery, the fans, the gloves.
We've had also input from the cast to see what they can move in. Well, obviously we've got some parkour performers as well as dancers, so we need to know their needs also. It's so different from any other Jesus Christ Superstar production in the past. Pilot, we wanted to look like a High Court judge. We didn't want him in robes, but he is going to be wearing judge's wig. He's got the bands, so yes, he's recognisable as a High Court judge, but it's our take on that.
Elastic, bubble elastic on the base coat.
It's an alternative to robes. He's a High Court judge. We didn't want him in robes.
I can't wait to see you.
I know. My dad will be saying to me, it's finally a proper job.
The director, Lawrence, was very keen to show off Mel's tattoos because we wanted to incorporate those in the character, and they do, once again, lend themselves to it perfectly.
The first one I got was, it's like a little Celtic band. My favourites are these here on my wrists, and this is love and happiness in Tibetan. And that's just a little scarf from when I fell over and sprained my ankle on opening night. And my cross, which is kind of very poignant in this particular show.
She's developed probably a hard shell to protect herself against the world, but when she peels away the layers, you see a softer side to Mary, and you see, if she was allowed to, how she'd like to feel.
I've been really lucky with my costume and makeup. It's really cool. I have dreadlocks, which I was a little bit nervous about at first. And also my makeup, actually, it's quite harsh, a lot harder than I would personally wear. But it's Mary's armour, it's very important for her role that she has this war paint that she puts on. And it makes me look very different, which makes me feel different, and it helps me to become the person that Mary is.
The elements were modern day, kids off the street, edgy, a bit grungy. Some of the guys have got dreads in their hair, and it just adds an extra texture and flavour.
That's definitely mine now.
Yes, that's yours.
I'm totally in awe of my lady who's working with me, Emily Dowd, who is theatre, she's trained in that industry, so I'm learning a lot from her as well. She's talking to me about fake blood and prosthetics. So we're there with products and powders and straighteners and all sorts. We just wanted Ben to feel like he could sort of melt into the part.
We sort of went for Johnny Depp when we were thinking of Jesus.
Get that done, yeah, please.
We really didn't want him to be the normal Jesus in his loincloth and his floating gowns. And although he's got the longer hair, it's grown out, it's a bit rockier.
It's just so heavy. The show on a whole is such a heavy experience. Even after our first run through, I kind of came back into the rehearsal room off the stage, and we were just sitting down, and Chris Moyles looked at me and said, "You all right?" And I was like, it's just so emotional, it's an amazing experience.
Painted to go with their costumes, so each pair of shoes has about an hour's work done on them.
a difficult one because they're meant to be felines, but they're also meant to be humans. So the makeup has got to be strong enough for the theatre to actually be able to be seen everywhere in the theatre, but not be too strong so that it actually masks out the character of the humans themselves. Because it's for film, we've taken away some of the harder theatrical lines and softened it.
Washing, every leotard washed individually by hand without a draining board, which I asked for the first day I was here. No draining board, hand scrubbing, very difficult in these conditions. Next question.
Thank you, my dears. So if you are the Christ, yes, the great Jesus Christ, feed my household with this bread. You can do it on your head, or has something gone wrong? Why do you?
And then we can always
Friday day. Friday day and night.
How did I get the role of Herod? I was asked by Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then Ben Forster said, I don't want him to do it. I'm not a fan of Chris Moyles. I don't want him to do it. And then my phone went.
Oh, and Fern texts him.
And then
which is
Fern
just
Cotton texts me.
Stage
and then Melody C is singing next door.
Chris.
Basically, I got the role because I'm so ultra showbiz.
Chris. Good luck, Chris.
So I'm working with incredible, talented people, and to make me feel even more confident on stage every night, I have to wear this, which is a crushed red velvet suit. And it has trousers to match and a red tie, and I have this hair. So, who's a lucky boy?
This mask is Ramin's new mask, especially for the 25th anniversary, which we've altered slightly from his existing mask, because it's always kind of good to play with details, really. And also the makeup's changed a little bit, and the mask has to fit exactly over the makeup. From a performance point of view, it has to do that, but also from a technical sound point of view, from his microphones and things, it has to sort of look good. And it also very much has to enhance Ramin's face, in that the idea is that the Phantom has tried to make himself look extraordinarily attractive and masculine and handsome. And so his way of doing it is the mask. And the original concept of this, which came from Marie Bjornsson, was that because of the period, he'd actually made this in fine porcelain. Although technically, of course, we don't use porcelain. That's the overall image of the thing, that he's made this mask particularly to make himself, to hide this gruesome sort of distortion in the rest of his face. We also spend a lot of time making sure that the shape of the mask works really well as a sculptural item in itself. Because at the point where Christine pulls the mask off, it becomes an object in itself. It's no longer a mask, it's also a sculptural object.
Yes, I designed it right at the outset for Michael Crawford, that's right. And that was, 25, no, more than that, of course, because I started sometime before the production, obviously. So it's almost 26 years, I think. Because I'd done The Elephant Man, they were thinking in terms of something fairly distorted or human. Something like maybe an injury or so. You know, when people have strokes and things like that, one side of their faces may be paralysed, so they always try and straighten, you know, when they're talking to you, they try not to look paralysed, don't they? You know, they're trying to work against the deformity. So I thought, well, if I can make his lip, pull his lip up by, you know, some ligaments that have contracted like that, like it would do in, say, a major burn, this will give him some sort of thing to work against. There's a bald cap, a plastic, like a bathing hat that keeps his hair down and enables us to stick everything else. He's in the chair for, well, it's been probably just under an hour as far as the makeup's concerned. Up here I wanted something that was going to register right at the back, so we made a sort of great big crater with a bone showing. Ramin's version is an improved version. It's the Mark IV, I think. There we are.
We're in the middle of a show. Let's go!